This is Lenny Farlee, Purdue University Extension Forester. Now let's ID that tree. In this edition of ID That Tree, we're going to look at a small native Indiana shrub, oftentimes found on drier sites, and that's coralberry, also sometimes called buckbrush. And so coralberry gets its name from these very attractive reddish, dry, hard berry clusters that we find on the stems. And these will be held well into winter, oftentimes past Christmas. As you can see, coralberry has opposite leaf arrangement, relatively small leaves. They're quite rounded, not sharp tipped, no teeth, tan to brown twigs, and very small buds. And of course, these very diagnostic fruit that are held well into winter. Coralberry does form clumps, root sprouts from the ground, and clusters, and so we can have large areas that actually have this occupying. It does not get to very tall, maybe shoulder high, sometimes a little taller if it's on a really good site. It's about as tall as I've seen it. Very attractive with those coral shaded berries all through winter. Now we do have one complication in identification. This can look a lot like the Asian bush honeysuckles. It has opposite leaf arrangement, simple leaves. The leaves are somewhat similar to some of the Asian bush honeysuckles. So what do we do to tell it apart? Well, first, definitely look for those very diagnostic fruit. So if you can find those, much different than what we find in Asian bush honeysuckle, which has very watery, reddish to orange fruit that are actually typically gone by early winter. These will hang on and are dry through winter. And also much more fruit in a cluster. Typically Asian bush honeysuckle, one or two fruit in a cluster, but many fruit on the shrubs themselves. Typically smaller leaves than Asian bush honeysuckle, but not always. And so here's an Asian bush honeysuckle. This is Amur honeysuckle. We'll compare that. Sharper leaves on this one, slightly larger. As you may recall, Asian bush honeysuckle has hollow pith with a brown center. Unfortunately, buckbrush also has a brown center, but the pith typically is not very hollow. It's pretty small and not a significant void. And so that's maybe not as great a comparison, but nonetheless provides another key. Some of the best keys obviously are the fruit, the small leaves, and the small stature and clusters that we see on the landscape. So coralberry or buckbrush.